invested in the policy is what I think you're trying to get at, although
yes.
He certainly said those words very frequently on the campaign trail, repeal and replace Obamacare. Joe, thank you. Stay with us. Let's go to Capitol Hill, where House Minority Whip Steny Hoyer of Maryland is standing by with us. Congressman, the narrative out of the White House is that, and it has been for a while, and certainly among Republicans as well, is that Obamacare is collapsing, that it is something that needs to be fixed right now, repealed and replaced. Is that true? Is it collapsing?
We don't accept that at all, and CBO did not accept that. Again, they want to reject CBO, but CBO said it would be stable. What they are trying to do is destroy it in every way they can. They're trying to destroy the confidence in the market. They're trying to destroy the confidence in the consumers. They're jawboning this effort to make what they say is happening happen. It is not. The Affordable Care Act is helping the American people. It's brought the cost of health care down, not for everybody, but down in terms of the last few decades, so that we think the Affordable Care Act is working, but we don't think it's perfect. And we would be willing to work with our Republican colleagues to fix that which is not working as well as we would like it to do. But let me, if I can, you talked about calling you if we disagreed. You said the president thinks he's done everything he could do. Very frankly, what the president said he was going to do was present a bill to Congress that would ensure every American at lower cost and better quality. The president has offered no such bill. This is his bill because he supports it, but it is not his bill because he put it together. And in fact, the reason it's having so much trouble, it does not do what the president said his bill would do. He doesn't have a bill. We're not considering that bill. And this bill does not give every American insurance. In fact, 24 million people lose their insurance. In fact, the cost of premiums and deductibles will go up under this bill. That's what CBO says. And just last night, in the dead of night, they removed the assurance that when you buy a policy, it will, in fact, cover your hospital. And things that people must have if they're going to have health insurance on which they can rely. So the reason this bill is apparently in real trouble, and I take your word for the 34. We haven't counted the Republicans, obviously. I've counted the Democrats, and there's not a single Democrat that's going to vote for this bill.
Congressman, let me
sure.
put you on hold there for a moment. Let's go to the floor and listen to what's going on right now.
Depend on if their family can pay the bills. This is the right and wrong of it. This is the heart and soul of the matter. We cannot abandon our principles. Mr. Speaker, we cannot forget our values. Any bill that turns the clock back to a darker time. I will fight every single attempt to turn a deaf ear, a blind eye, and a cold shoulder to the sick, to our seniors, and to working families. Mr. Speaker, I will fight every day, every hour, every minute, and every second. I oppose this bill with every breath and every bone in my body. We must not give up. We cannot. I will not give in. Not today, not tomorrow, and never, ever. On this bill, there's only one option, and that option is to vote no.
Congressman
we can do better.
John Lewis, excuse me, giving an impassioned speech right now on the floor of the House, saying to vote no. As a Democrat, very clearly, though, he will be voting no. And a reminder, our whip count stands at 34 Republicans voting no. Congressman Hoyer, I want to get back to you. Talking more about Obamacare, President Trump has rolled back a number of regulations that helped gird Obamacare, and already with the anticipation of there being a repeal and replace, a number of healthcare companies have left the exchanges, left the marketplace. Given that, is it necessary to do something right now to make sure that the Americans who do have healthcare under this plan continue to have not only healthcare but affordable healthcare?
No, the answer to your question is no. There's not something that's an emergency now to pass this bill. The Affordable Care Act is working. It's not working perfectly. There were some things we would like to fix in the small market for small businesses, and we ought to work together to do that. But that's not what was done. We have this bill that was introduced 2 weeks ago. It was introduced in the dead of night. Considered 36 hours later for markups, no hearings, not a single American was asked their opinion, and the committees didn't have a CBO score. So the answer to your question is no, there is not an emergency, but there is a responsibility that each of us has to work together to make what John Lewis just so passionately talked about, health care available and relied upon by all Americans. That's what Donald Trump, running for president, and to the American people in the State of the Union, well, it's really not a State of the Union, but in his speech just 2 weeks ago, looked in the camera and said, I'm going to be supporting a program that will give every American insurance coverage. In fact, in 9 years under this Republican bill, 52 million Americans will not have health insurance. He said he was going to make sure that it brought costs down. In fact, CBO tells us that premiums, deductible, and cost of insurance will go up substantially. And seniors will pay 3, 4, 5 times as much as they are now paying. I refer to seniors in the 50 to 64 before they get Medicare. So the fact of the matter is there is not an emergency. The Republicans keep trying to create an emergency to support their bill, but apparently they have not convinced their own members, and certainly they have not convinced us.
Congressman Hoyer, thank you. Jeff Weaver.
Can I say something further?
Sure.
Not only have they not convinced us, the American people, every day this bill has been under consideration, less of them support this bill, and now by a 3-to-1 margin, 56% to 17%, with 26% who don't have an opinion, but the people who have an opinion by a 3-to-1 margin say don't pass this bill. It's bad for me and my family.
Congressman Hoyer, I believe, is citing a Quinnipiac poll that was released yesterday.
Yes.
Thank you, Congressman. Jeff Weaver, the former Bernie Sanders campaign manager, is also with us. Jeff, anybody who has a pulse right now can see